Hello guys, how's it going? My name is Dalaran, and in today's video we'll be going over which legendaries should your rogue, no matter what spec, be gunning for this early into the expansion. It is still kind of early. We haven't begun the seasonal stuff, the raid stuff, but if you are trying to find something that fits your character, that sims well with your character, which legendary should you invest time into? Some of these Legos are from dungeons, or some of them spec right now, and others can be gotten from certain levels of tournaments. Some can be gotten from world bosses, and some can be gotten from raids. So which of these should you focus on depending on your spec? Legendaries should be practical, very soon, accessible, and some of the Legos that are similar really well for rogues this early right now. I should also add that as a rogue player, if you want to be fundamentally good, all-around good rogue, you should get every single legendary available to you. You should get every legendary for every single spec, because you never know that maybe in the future there might be a build that allows one legendary or another to shine out of nowhere. So as a rogue main, you should get every Lego, but which are Legos that you should focus on right now depending on the spec that you want to play. The recipes are actually a lot easier to acquire than it was with legendaries of Legion, which were very much RNG legendaries, since these can be focused on which ones should you spend time farming. One of the very strong legendaries for Assassination in the early sims is going to be Dashing Scoundrel. This is a very powerful legendary that was a tier 4 bonus from Legion. It allows your poison builds to be exceptionally strong, and with a lot of the condiments that deal with poison damage, it might be something that fits your playstyle. It looks like this Lego will continue to scale forward as we get better mastery and as we get more stats. This legendary should continue to be relevant. This legendary drops from the upcoming raid, which should be available very soon from Council of Blood. So be on the lookout for this Lego going forward. Another Assassination legendary that's looking pretty good is Memory of Zodiac Insignia. This one allows you bleeds and poisons to do more damage when the enemy is close to the execute range, which is looking like a really good legendary for both single target as well as particularly in AoE. This one can be gotten from Torghast from the Cold Heart Interstitia Layer 3 Plus, which means if you do the Cold Heart Corridor whenever that's available in however many weeks now, if you do it at a layer 3 or above, you have a very high chance of getting this legendary, so it should be really easy to farm. If you're planning on playing Outlaw, then Celerity is still, from the beta, is looking like a very powerful legendary choice. Adrenaline Rush also will now increase your damage done by 8%, and while Slice and Dice is active, you have a small chance to gain Adrenaline Rush for 3 seconds. It's very similar of a Vision of Perfection style type of effect, and it procs quite often. The extra damage on Adrenaline Rushes, especially since Adrenaline Rush is just a no-brainer. You get some order from the second class expires Possession, which takes a little bit of time. It was about 6 to 8 runs of that dungeon before I got this Lego. Another that's a close second is Memory of Green Skin with Green Skins Wickers, which is a legendary from Legion, also adapted into a trait for Battle for Azeroth, and continues to be a very strong competitor going forward, at least in the early sims. Pistol shots and big damage can be good in AoE, can be good in single target, and can also be good in PvP. So this one makes sense. This one is gotten also from the raid from the boss Sludge Fist. When it comes to subtlety, Akari's Soul Fragment still continues to be a very strong single target option. It was a very powerful legendary back in beta, and through buffs and nerfs, it still maintains its relevance. It allows your shadow strikes and cheap shots. Your target will suffer an extra shadow strike from the shadows 2 seconds later at 25% effectiveness. At some point, this legendary even gave you extra combo points, but that was way too broken, so Blizzard has removed this effect from it a while ago now. This legendary does have a bit of a PvP ring to it, because even cheap shots can give you free shadow strikes, so it's just extra free damage, which is really good when you're trying to just slam a bunch of shadow strikes into a boss or into an unsuspecting healer. Akari's Soul Fragment can be gotten from Torghast with the name Scaldus Hall Layer 3. So be on the lookout for Scaldus Hall next time around. The next legendary for subtlety that's recommended is Finality. Finality allows your Eviscerate Nurture or Black Powder to increase the damage of the next phase without finishing with 50%. So if you are doing a boss fight or PvP, you hit Eviscerate, your next Eviscerate will do 25% more damage. Or if you hit a Rupture on one target, you can Rupture a second target for 25% more. Same thing with Black Powder. This legendary is really good for AoE since not a lot of supplement Legos really have an AoE component in particular, and buffing the damage of Black Powder allows you to do a little bit extra AoE damage. It also allows you that Eviscerate potential, and even the Rupture could potentially make the Bleed a little bit stronger for sub, maybe in PvP. There's a lot of potential, right? A lot of potential in a lot of these builds and a lot of what these legendaries might be able to bring to the table. It all depends how you use it. Finality is another one of those legendaries that is gotten from the raid, from the last boss, Sire the Lathlands. So whether you are a raider or not, at least get into normal, maybe even LFR, for a chance at this legendary if you want to sell. Now, most of the times, your spec-specific legendaries are going to be the best. But if you want to know Rogue's best legendary, it has to be Mark of the Master Assassin. 100% crit for opening up from stealth. I mean, it's a Rogue's dream. To be able to burst someone down with subtlety, or drop massive bleeds, vanish with a vendetta into massive burst as Assassination, even the crit heavy playstyle that Outlaw can play off of. It's a massively strong legendary, which can come from the first boss of the dungeon, Pain. So all you guys should be able to at least jump into that dungeon at least once a day, slay the first boss, and see if you might be able to draw on this powerful Lego. This legendary is actually going to dominate for all three specs when it comes to AoE damage, because 100% crit during your big AoE burst could be huge. But also what I like about this legendary is, even if you get it right now and you're not sure which rogue spec you're gonna play, that's a really good hit-all legendary. It works for no matter which spec you end up picking up. So if you're someone who is like in between those specs, not really sure what you really want to get into, not really sure what you really want to play, this will be the perfect legendary for you. But then again, in the end, as I said, if you want to be a well-rounded rogue, you should get every single legendary. There is always a possibility for every one of these powerful effects, which are less RNG based by the way, which is a really good thing with this expansion, for all of them to shine in some way or another. I'm actually very excited to test out every single one of these Legos once we have the access to craft them, because just imagining how many wacky and awesome builds you might be able to do with these Legos could be really cool going forward. So if you're someone who's really thinking about getting into Rogue, you should honestly craft every Lego. But if you want advice on some legendaries that are looking really strong early in the Sims, which could change in 2-3 weeks, so do mind that going forward, these are going to be the Legos that I personally think you guys should focus on. Anyway, thank you all so much for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed this brief video, and I'll see all of you in another one.